In this week's episode of Port Trainer Podcast, we are joined by Amanda Dwyer. Amanda is a fellow podcaster. She's also a very talented and very funny stand-up comic. And we got into a lot of different subject matters over the course of this hour. We chatted about everything from stand-up comedy, of course, podcasting, of course. But we also went to Taylor Swift, the new album, the tour, yes. And we talked about intrusive thoughts that may or may not involve killing work colleagues and children and things like that. It's all very light-hearted. We really hope you enjoy this, but we're going to start with Dallin's behind-the-scenes images. So,
we're here at Bella Houston Park, and Amanda's picked a bench with a big dotted bird shite on it, so it's a beautiful location. Thank you very much.
Well, you're welcome. Well, there's shit over here as well. You just can't see it.
We'll get some B-roll.
I'm just not sitting on top of it. But yeah.
How you doing today?
I'm good. How are you?
Yeah, very good, very good. So we're doing the photos after this time, so we've got a fresher conversation. Usually we waste all the good chat during the photos and then regret it.
That's mad.
Yeah.
I think I've changed things big time for you today by being difficult.
Yeah.
By being like, I'm shy, can we take photos later? You're like, actually, do you know what?
do you mind if I just take a few snaps as you guys chat?
No, that's
cool.
fine.
Anything we take today, we'll run past you before it goes anywhere.
Aye.
Yeah.
You have total.
We narrow it down to like
Aye.
5 photos each.
Watch
or
me let you post nothing. Be like, no.
It's like 4-second podcast. So I've only ever seen you at a roast battle.
Aye.
And then like clips and stuff. I've never seen your stand-up, but how do you find the roast battles? They look fun.
I love a roast battle.
Yeah.
I think that was the last one I did actually, and that was a while ago. The next roast battle, I'm doing one next month against Paul McDaniel.
Oh yeah, he's
Yeah,
brilliant. An Irish guy,
So a lot of good. He sent me. He was like, "Well, we trade information." So what we do, right, normally is, or how I like to do it is, I'll say, and I only like to do it with pals or like people you know, because then I think it's no funny slagging like and I'll let them say anything about me. I'm like, I just tell them like all the shittest things about my life, and then I love it when they. And I don't like to hear the jokes before the night, so I'll say, here's what I'm going to talk about you. I'm going to mention you're this, this and this, but I want to leave the punchlines. I don't want to hear what they're actually going to say until it's happening, because then it's just funnier.
So do some people like pre-plan the jokes and they know what's coming?
Aye, some people trade. They'll rehearse their roasts together.
Right, okay.
So they know exactly what's coming, whereas I like to say, right, first topic I'm going to do is this. I always say, let's split it into 5 sections.
Okay.
I'm going to talk about this, and then, but I don't want to hear your actual jokes, your actual put downs or whatever until it's happening, because otherwise, I don't know.
You want to enjoy it as well.
I want to be like surprised, and I want to be like, I don't know. It just feels more fun to hear it there and then in front of everybody else, and it's like. They're embarrassing in that, obviously, if it's a pure good one.
Mark's jokes are savage, but they're hilarious. That was my favourite roast, I think.
Mine and Mark's?
Yeah.
Oh, aye. Mark's was... I beat him, actually.
Yeah? Nice.
Aye. So he obviously put a clip out of his like best like pure put downs of me, and I'm like, make me one. Aye. Like, all my best ones are pure cut. I'm like, put mine in. So...
You're getting called out, Mark.
No, he was like, I'll make you a clip, and then
Harry's Pavilion show, and just
I'm still waiting on it, and I thought, fuck her. Aye.
wild.
Aye,
You tell words yourself, Mark.
I know. So, my next one's Paul McDaniel, and I love doing them because you need to write, but it's dead scary because it's on your material and you can't test it beforehand. Well, you can say, like, I'll run it past my boyfriend's like, you're not doing another roast battle because the whole week before it, I'm like, oh, is this? I don't know. Is this good? God, help me! Like this.
Is it quite like stressful writing it? And
I
stuff?
don't know why I go. I'll do it, and then the few days before it, I'll leave it really last minute.
Yeah.
And then I'm like, I need to write really good mean jokes, and then I'll get pure stressed about it. And he's like, why do you do this? Why do you do this? I'm like, I don't know. I love it.
What kind of notes do you have?
So I'll just get them to tell me like maybe embarrassing things or just about their life, like just about their upbringing, their hobbies, any really,
So do you have like questions that you're wanting to go in on, or do they just give you a list of facts?
So I normally will because I've only really done it with pals, I'm just like, can I slag your dada? You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like, no slag them, but you know what I mean? I'm like, can I make fun of this? And they're just like, aye. So with Chris Thorburns, probably the person that I knew, like I know him, but not as well as everybody else that I'd roasted. So I was like, oh, is this going to be like all right to say? And then some of the things he said to me, I was like, whoa.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
So what I normally do is I'll just give them a list of like trauma.
Mm-hmm.
Just like everything that's wrong with me. I'm just like, I've got ADHD, I've got OCD, I'm mental, like blah 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 blah. Like, there you go, make fun of me.
The clips are, they're hilarious. But yeah, I did look up Mark's one, and there was a YouTube clip, and it was all Mark's jokes. And I thought, oh, where's the comeback?
Aye, no, he's totally cut me out because I beat him. Do you know what's funny is, like, whenever I battle a girl, like a woman, I lose.
Right, okay.
But every man that I've roasted, I've beat them.
Yeah.
Aye. And I'm pure proud of that. I'm like, yes.
Paul McDaniel, seen him a couple of times.
Aye, he's next.
He's really funny.
He's next. I'm going to destroy him.
His wee hand in his hip.
He's so funny. I actually never tire like listening to Paul. Have you ever listened to his podcast?
Impressions. What's it called?
That don't impression Paul much.
Yeah.
It's so good, actually.
Aye. Have you been on it?
I was on it the other week.
Right,
and,
okay.
I'm terrible at impressions, but it's just quite fun. Like, because he does like games with you and stuff where he'll do impressions of things that you like and you need to guess what it is.
Okay.
And, he's not that good at them either, actually. So it's really funny.
Because they do like the quick fire impressions, and also there's like the Mum and Sopranos and stuff, like funny niche ones. But I'm like, what if the person doesn't know them at all?
Well, do you know what he does? A wee bit of behind the scenes.
Okay.
He'll send you a list of the impressions that he's going to ask you to do beforehand, so you can practice them.
Okay.
Which is embarrassing because if you heard my impressions, you're like,
I'm gonna watch it after this. Yeah.
You're like, you practiced them.
Yeah.
Like that's me really did my best impressions. So, but it's really fun.
Something weird about impressions is like 0.0001% of people are good at them, but everyone cares about them. You can't just go on. Like, you take it really seriously.
You can't. It kind of hurts. Like I hurt my own feelings sometimes when I try to do an impression and then it's rubbish. And I'm like, oh come on.
Did you nail any?
I actually think I nailed Roscoe McClellan. Do you know Roscoe?
Yeah.
I think I did a good Roscoe, and that's it. Probably.
Is there any you wish you got asked that didn't?
No. No, because I'm terrible.
I was going to ask for you to do it. So
like, I surprised myself with my Roscoe. I was like, and I knew it was good because the producer guy burst out laughing.
Right, okay.
Or maybe it was that bad that he was like, but I actually think it was good that he was like, oh aye, that's it.
Okay.
Apart from that, no, they were all terrible. I don't listen to it.
No, I'm definitely going to listen
so
to it.
So waste your time. But
that looks like a fun podcast to go on. I've seen Paul a couple of times to stand up as well. He's really good.
He's really funny. He's so funny.
I think we were meant to get him in the podcast ages ago, but it fell apart because it was up in Edinburgh and we had the studio set up at the time. But you'd probably do it now.
Probably would, aye.
So apart from impressions and roast battles, stand-up comedy.
Aye.
How long have you been doing it?
So technically 5 years.
Okay.
It's been 5 years since I did my first gig, but that was in 2019, and I maybe did about 6 gigs or something before lockdown happened.
Okay.
So
how were they?
They were good. I mean, my first one was great. I did that Ultra. Have you heard of like that Ultra comedy course? So it's like a chat.
Viv G or?
It's Viv. Viv does it, and it's for charity. So it's like you sign up, you get 6 weeks free stand-up coaching.
Cool.
and then at the end, you perform like a big show. Like, it was in the Glee actually. There was like hundreds of people there.
I think I've seen one advertised, like a showcase of our students or whatever, right?
And I'll tell you now, I was saying this on Paul's podcast, she needs to be stopped. Yeah. There's too many, there's too many comedians. There's too many. There's too many now. Like, calm down. So I did that, but I'd already signed up to do a Red Raw because I was like, I just want to try stand up. I liked comedy writing. I would write like a sitcom and stuff like that. And I was like, I thought I'm going to try stand up. So then I saw that, applied for that, went and did that. And it went well. Like, it went well, my first gig. Like, for being like a first gig, I was like, that was good. Then I did my Red Raw, that was my second gig, and that also went well. Cool. And I was like, I'm a comedian.
This is fucking easy.
This is it. And then
I'm going to do impressions now.
And then you do a couple of other like, obviously they're good rooms because they're like rammed full of people who love comedy.
Yeah.
And then you do like a gig to like 6 people. And 4 of them are other comedians, and you're like, why am I doing this? Like,
I've seen folk come to Air that have like killed rooms, and then they come to like Smoke and Go, and it's like steaming people, and, like a couple that just don't give a fuck, and they're watching the football on the TV, and I'm like, oh, this is painful.
It's like they're getting comedy forced upon them.
Yeah.
And at some gigs, and you're like, no, I can't. I just refuse to do the gigs now because I've had too many bad experiences.
Okay. What was your worst?
My worst gig. It was at Peckham's in Hindland.
Right. Okay.
Right. And I was on with Paul McDaniel. To be fair, the audience, they weren't great. It was a Sunday night in January. Right. It was just a bit miserable. They were all really kind of middle upper class, retired bankers and all that. Yeah. Really, like, they had a lot. I don't know. They were snobs. They were snobs.
Yeah.
And my comedy's very no funny to them. Like, it's really dark. Like, I'm when I'm on stage, I'm totally deadpan. Like, I don't even crack a smile. And it's quite dark, and it's, I don't know. Obviously, just, I don't know. Like, I got up. I was like, fuck it, this will be fine. And I just died on my arse for 10 minutes straight. Like, there was one table at the front laughing at me.
Yeah.
But I was like, but the whole time I was just like, that's pity laughs. Like, you know what I mean? I was just like...
Because they're so close.
I was like, they just feel terrible for me. Because honestly, everybody else was just looking at me like this.
So see, like, in terms of your performance, if you're doing the deadpan thing, obviously you're not like deadpan in real life. If you start bombing for the first couple jokes, do you change how you're doing it at all?
No.
You try and like, you just
I just lean into it even more, actually. I'm just like, you know what, fuck yous. I'm like, I'm not going to start acting like a pure clown just because, like, I don't know, the people were looking at me like I was the most disgusting thing they've ever seen.
Okay.
And I came off and I was just like, and that was my first ever, like, proper, like, death. And I was like,
okay.
I came off, I went downstairs, and there was like another comedian there, Mick McNeil. Do you know Mick McNeil? No.
The one that used to do boxing or something like that. I'm sure I've seen clips.
So, and he was like, down over here, how was it? And I was pure, I just like burst out greeting. Like, I was like, it was so bad. And then I went home and I was saying to like Stephen, my partner, I was like, I'm going to quit. And he was like, you just quit then. Like, just pure. I was like, you're not going to quit? I was like, He was like, get in it, man. Like, it's fine. And then I was
like a rite of passage to have like a
I think it really is. And now
No, that's fine.
It's alright. And now I think about it and I'm like, that's actually so funny. Like, and now I'm no scared of like dying on stage. I've never really. That was like the worst one. Touch wood. I tend not to.
Touch wood there as well.
No wood. Touch wood. I tend not to have terrible gigs often.
Yeah. You sound you're quite lucky then. So you came out pretty much. Your first gigs were you coming out kind of fully formed with I'm deadpan, I'm going to be disgusting, self-deprecating, that kind of stuff? Yeah.
I just was like, I want to be. I just always knew I wanted to be that kind of comedian.
Where was that from? Is there anyone you liked? Or?
I don't know. I think just I just a bit like that. I think,
Okay.
like, I think I am just quite. There's no like pure. I don't have like a pure deadpan comedian idol or anything
Yeah.
like that. I just like. I don't know.
It's
I
just
just
what
wanted
suits
to.
and works for you.
I just knew that that's how I wanted to do it.
And did you know that before, like even Viv G's course? Were you sure about that and you just...
I think like I was just like I'm going to write. I just knew when I started writing that it was
felt right?
that I wanted to lean into that kind of thing, and I just always have. I've never tried to do it any other way.
Right, okay.
And I don't think I could. I will see now that I host. Like when I host, I'm no as deadpan. Obviously, like I'll talk to people and I'll maybe like crack a smile and stuff. But I'm no high energy at all. I couldn't go out and be like, whoa, you know, some people like Billy Kirkwood and all that sort of thing. Like they've just got pure
insane energy.
I could never. I could never do that. Like, so I can come out and I can be a bit less, you know, miserable, but deep down I'm still, like, you know, deadpan and a bit, like...
Okay, that's interesting.
Downbeat.
Do you think it came... You said you were writing, like, a sitcom and stuff before. Was there a character that was deadpan in that you think that kind of warmed you up?
I'd say, like, in that... Well, obviously I wrote myself as the main character. Because, you know, it's called... Manjai. It's called. Well, I named the character Sarah actually, just because I like that name. But it was a hospitality-based sitcom called Side Order. And I'd say I based it around. It was kind of about like me and my partner getting together. It's kind of what the kind of long-running story was. But then obviously you get all the kind of no typical sitcom characters, but you know you've got like the pure eccentric one and the kind of square and all that sort of thing. So I'd say, I don't know, I think my stand-up's like me, but just amplified, if you know what I mean, like a bit more extreme. Like I think I'll always say, like, I don't know, I just think, like, even off the cuff, I'll just say something that's quite dark or quite dry and quite...
Right.
I'll probably make jokes when I shouldn't.
Yeah.
And I can't help it. And so that's probably just, I don't know where I got it from. It's so weird. I've never been asked that question, actually. No. So I've never even really thought about it. I'm just like, I don't know. It's just how I do it. It's just how I want to do it.
So if you don't have like a deadpan comedian that you like looked up to that got you into it, but like what comedy like were you watching before you got into it, or was it just like a self thing?
I really liked Sarah Silverman.
Yeah, I love Sarah
Silverman. And I think she's quite dry and quite, you know, low
like
energy.
Kind of crude jokes and stuff, but like toes the line well.
See, I don't really do crude stuff, but maybe like one or two wee bits, but like maybe not as crude as her.
Right. Okay.
But I really liked her, and I just like how she's just kind of like I don't know, she just doesn't give a fuck.
Yeah.
And I loved Dave Chappelle. A lot of people don't rate Dave Chappelle now, but
he's one of the best, I think.
I love him. I just think he's so fun. I could just watch him like 24/7. And I was a big Amy Schumer fan.
Yeah, until it came out that none of her jokes were hers.
Yeah, but so we were talking about this in a car, like ride up to Dundee or Aberdeen or something recently, and they were like, well, the thing is, she's probably got just like a team of writers who are just like pinching like
the James
you know,
Corden
borrowing stuff everywhere. Yeah. So she's maybe not even aware that she is stealing jokes or whatever.
It was a lot though, wasn't it?
Was it?
Yeah, I think there's a video and I think there's like 35 jokes and 5 or 6 sketches all within like 2 or 3 years.
Right, that's
pretty wild.
It's too much.
Yeah. She seems like a nice person and stuff, but it's just, it was a lot.
Aye.
It was a shame. Amy Schumer is good though.
I did like her. I really liked her film Trainwreck.
Yeah.
I thought that was so funny.
Yeah. Did you ever watch Chelsea Peretti's special?
Chelsea Peretti.
You know the one in Brooklyn Nine-Nine, The Receptionist?
No, actually I've not.
She's got a brilliant stand-up. Is it good? It's really
is it on Netflix?
It was
right,
for years. I don't know if it is now, but it's well worth a watch.
Oh my god, do you know who I love? Maria Bamford.
I don't think I've seen her.
Oh my god, right, I've just got into her.
Right.
She's an American woman. She's just dead I don't even know how to
Maria
describe her.
Bamford.
Maria Bamford, she's like in her 50s now. She's got like blonde hair. She's just wacky. Like
Okay.
she's just, but like quietly wacky. Like she's no, I don't know. You just need to look her up. I can't
Okay.
describe her, and I'm not going to do her justice if I try and
No,
like
no, it's fine.
impersonate her or
I
anything.
definitely will look that up.
But
You made a note, cheers.
she's honestly the funniest fucking thing I've seen in years, and I'm like, how did I not know? Because I went to like for my Glasgow Comedy Festival show.
Yeah.
I went through to this wee night in Edinburgh called Open Comedy.
Uh-huh.
It's so nice. And I was like, right, I've got 5 minutes, and I was like, I'm just going to try 5 minutes on intrusive thought stuff that I wanted to put in my show that I'd obviously never tried. And so I did it, and then like 3 people came up to me after it, and they were like, "Oh, have you seen Maria Bamford's intrusive thought stuff?" And I was like,
Oh,
"No,"
right,
and I
okay.
was like, "Shit, have I like?" I was like, "Am I
Lifted it,
comedy?"
yeah,
Aye,
yeah.
and she was like, "They were like, no, it's totally different, like stuff, but it is that kind of subject." And I was like, "No." So then I looked her up, and then I was just like, "Oh my god, I'm obsessed with her." She
Okay.
did this special. She filmed this whole special, and it's just like her in her house, and the audience is just her mum and dad on the couch.
Right, okay.
Aye, it's so
Okay,
funny,
cool.
like it's so bizarre. But I just think she's so funny. You need to look her up.
No, I definitely will.
So I was pure planning this whole. She's like touring in America, and I was pure trying to get my boyfriend to. I was like, "Can we just book tickets to like LA in September?" And he was like, "Why?" And I was like, "I want to see Maria Bamford."
Yeah.
He was like, "She might come back to Scotland," and I'm like, "She might not."
Yeah.
Like,
You need to get it.
I want to
Get
see
there.
her, and he's like, "No," and I'm like, "Okay."
I was trying to convince Amanda to go to Texas as well, like Austin just now, because it's all like blowing up. And she's like, "But it's just going to be like comedy non-stop." And I'm like, "But we can do other things for one day." It's definitely a selfish holiday.
I'd
but
love to go to Texas, actually.
Yeah. I was talking to... What? Sorry, all right. I was talking to Mikey about his trip to Austin. He's got like a wee podcast coming out, his wee Texas special. Do you know Mikey?
Mikey Motion.
Uh-huh.
I know him. I don't know him well, but I know
Right.
I know him. Aye, but I don't know much about him, if you know
Right,
what I mean.
okay.
Well, I know he's like a DJ and stuff. He's nice. Whatever.
Yeah.
I've seen him. He's nice. But I don't like know him particularly well.
Okay.
But aye, seems cool.
But I'll definitely check out Maria Bamford. So with the intrusive thoughts, does that help with comedy? Do you use that a lot?
No, I've just started joking about it actually.
Have you had any today?
Aye, I've had.
Go on.
I get them all the
Tell.
time. No, my worst ones, right? I just thought I need to start making fun of this because it is funny.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know. I know I'm going to tell you, so you're going to be like, "What the fuck?" So a few years ago, I was obviously like really unwell, but I was like pure convinced myself that I was going to murder my own Wayne.
Fuck, right.
Right, so which is funny now, obviously, because I haven't. But like at the time, I was just like, oh my god, I was pure scared to be left alone with him because I just kept thinking, oh my god, what if you like accidentally murder him?
Yeah.
And then I started thinking, oh my god, you must want to murder him if you're like
If that came into
thinking
your mind,
about
you
it.
must
Aye.
secretly want to.
And I think back then I didn't really know what intrusive thoughts were.
Yeah.
And obviously everybody gets them, but no everybody. Like I've got OCD, so I'll obsess at it and be like, "Why am I thinking that though?
And
I must
analyse yourself
actually
about
be
it.
aye."
Right, okay.
And then I'll just become obsessed with why I'm thinking it, keep thinking it. So now I can have them and just be like, "No, like I'm not, I'm not gonna do that." But I used to like lock knives up at night.
Just, like scared of yourself.
I scared that I would get up during the night and kill like Stephen or my Wayne,
Oh,
like,
jeez.
and which is just so. Stupid.
Yeah.
Like, I've never even raised my voice to my Wayne. Like I'm not going to murder him. But like, I remember getting therapy and she was like, "That's just like your anxiety's just like saying to you what is literally the worst thing that could happen,
Right,
and like
okay.
and showing you it, and I'm like, aye, but that's why." And she was saying, you need to just expose yourself. Like she was saying to me, like I do a bit in my show now, how she was like, you need to just get the knives, you just like sit with the knives and that. And I was pure, fuck that, like I'm not going to go home, just
What if you
sit
were
with
a
knives.
psycho? That's really bad advice.
She was pure, just sit with the knives and you'll realise that you're not going to do it. And I was like, that's horrible, but it
Does
does
something
work.
click when she just said, "Oh, that's your anxiety"? Because a lot of times, well, I had therapy as well, and sometimes they frame things in just a different way, and immediately you're like, "Oh yeah, that makes sense."
Aye,
and
you're
then
like,
it's fine.
aye, like I think that is pure. And ever since then, if I get an intrusive thought, I'm like, oh, right, that's horrible, but I don't then go, oh my God, why am I thinking that? I just do, just let it go. She taught me this wee, like, it's not a game, but this wee, like, trick to, she's like, just imagine, it's like you're standing on a bridge and your wee thoughts going by. It's like a wee sticks fell in that. She's like, just let it float away. She's like, just let it.
Stand on the bridge?
I know, it's so descriptive.
Like, yeah.
I know, I'm pure.
Stand
I'll jump
on the
there
bridge with
after
your
it.
knives. And your kids by the leg.
And I was like, right, okay, but then it's pure you think like, alright, I'll just pretend I'm stunning at a wee lake and be like, all these wee things like they actually do work.
Yeah.
And you're like, I feel silly for no, I don't know, for
buying
like,
into it.
like sooner.
That's wild. I get one. Did you ever play GTA?
Aye.
Back in the day. So you know when you run over people and they go flying up in the air.
Aye.
I've got a fantasy. I just plowing
Doing
through
that to people.
Yeah.
Aye. The fact you've described it as a fantasy.
I mean, an intrusive thought. Just cut that, edit that back. Right?
I've got a fantasy. No.
Oh, that's mad.
Aye, I get them all the time. I'm just like, especially if I'm like, like we were at Root Glen Park the other day, and I was like, oh my God, I want to play with my pal. She was looking in the water, and I was like, you could just kick her right in that like pond. And I was like, oh my God, stop.
I did that once. We were at the races in there, and two of my pals, one had picked up each other and they're kind of like pretending to drop each other in the fountain. I just went up and shoved them both in. Just broke both their phones, just everything. It was just terrible.
Oh
You
my
know that way
God.
at the time you think it's hilarious.
Aye.
And I just regretted it immediately and I was like, oh shit, why did I do that?
Yeah, that's proper keen
bad,
into
yeah.
your
That wasn't a
intrusive
fantasy
thoughts.
though, that was just an
That was
intrusive
just
thought.
like, that was a must.
That was a steaming, this will be funny.
I need to do this.
Yeah.
Aye. So aye, I wouldn't say having intrusive thoughts helps with my, because actually before I go on stage I always think, this is so stupid, right, but I have a wee routine. I take half a propanolol, right,
Okay,
which
yeah.
is like a beta blocker,
Uh-huh.
an hour before I'm due on stage, and then I have a pint of lemonade,
Right,
because
okay.
I'm just like, if I don't do that I'll faint when I get on stage. Like, I won't obviously, but I just have convinced
you'll
myself, I am just like, what if I faint on stage?
So why is the lemonade just sugar?
Aye.
Right, okay.
I don't know. None of it makes sense.
Yeah.
Because I mean, you're more likely to faint if you take a propanolol. But
Yeah,
I
'cause it
somehow
slows down your
think,
heart rate or something, right?
I somehow think, if I don't take that and I don't have my lemonade, I'm at serious risk of a faint when I
Right,
get up
okay.
on stage. So I have these wee like rituals, and I can't break that one.
Yeah.
I can't crack that one yet.
We've got a new one forming with the CBD. If I take CBD before an interview, I think I can chat to someone normally. I had one today. But if I don't, then I'm just like in my head the whole time. and I'm,
Aye, you're
panicking
like,
about
why are
what
you
I'm
talking
saying.
like a freak? Aye.
Yeah. All right. You've obviously seen a few episodes.
I can tell when you've skipped. No, is it like a gummy? Is it like a gummy or like a drop?
Anything.
Anything?
I used to have the gummies, but they're quite expensive, so I've got just a can of Trip, and that's like 15
Aye.
milligrams. So I have a couple of them.
I got, so for my Christmas, that's what I asked for my Christmas. Was
Alright.
it last year, the year before? I got like 3 cases of Trip.
Uh-huh.
What's your favourite flavour?
The purple one, I don't know what it is.
Is it the
See
like
the purple
mint
or-
and the mint and
I think so, yeah.
One you had to do was elderflower.
elderflower
Elderflower
and
and
mint.
mint.
Aye, that's
Yeah, it's
that's
pretty good.
nice.
There's
And
only
there's
2 flavours in
ginger.
Co-op.
Was there? That's my least favourite one. And then there's, what's the other one? Basil.
Oh.
Like lime and basil or something
Right,
like that.
okay.
Something pure herby.
The air co-op.
It's quite
not
nice.
quite reached that yet.
Aye, but that's my favourite one, the elderflower one.
It's pretty good.
Aye, so I got big cases of that for my Christmas. And I got like a mint flavoured oil.
Right, okay.
And I always forget I've got it. It's in my cupboard actually. I always forget I've got it.
It's pretty good. I never
Aye.
really thought it worked before, but it definitely does.
I should try. Sometimes take it before bed.
Right, okay.
I don't know why.
I just do it before like things are.
like before you actually have to do things.
Yeah.
See, I always think it is like I don't know, like it's going to help me go to sleep or something, but it's probably not. Is it meant to?
Help you go to sleep.
I was listening to stuff last night. Oh, sorry.
No, let's go.
We'll come up to half hour mark, so we'll have to start.
Stop and start.
Right. We're rolling again, so just pick up and be.
They might not like.
So after the CBD chat, so I heard that you've done some photography in the past.
Me?
It's a guy. It's the Hanging Hunk.
What?
John the.
Oh, John the Hunky Hanger?
Yeah, the Hunky
Aye.
Hanger. That was it.
That's pure whack. Pure makes me sound like a pure pornographic, like, photographer on Pure
That's
Wine.
definitely another thing.
I know, oh no, I sound like I'm an absolute freak. He's probably going to walk by with his 2 dogs any minute and I'll be like, there's
Oh yeah, it's local, isn't
He's very local. So my old neighbour, I've moved just round the corner.
Uh-huh.
But I took a photo of him. Right, this is so bad. His face isn't in it. Actually, I feel like I should show you the photo.
Okay.
Later, I'll show you later.
Yeah, it didn't sound bad when you explained it.
Oh,
A dog.
a wee dog.
We've had a dog in like most episodes outside.
Susan loves a guy who's hanging up the washing, right?
Yeah.
Big John was always at the back hanging up the washing, and I was like, I'm going to take a picture of him. And I knew she would just... He is really a really handsome guy, right? So his face isn't in it because his arms are like hanging up the washing, but you can see, you know, his hair and you can see... He'd be able to identify himself, basically. And if you want. If you want.
The hunky hanger.
I'm like...
Does Susan come up with that name?
Aye.
It's brilliant.
The hunky hanger. So I sent it to Susan and she was obviously going nuts for it. She was like, oh my God, I love him. And she kept being like, set me up with him. And I was like, no, what am I going to say? Hiya, I sent a picture of you hanging up your washing to my pal and now she wants to go on a date with you. So it's just a bit awkward because my old neighbour texted me that week. She's like, I've started listening to your podcast. And I was like, no, because she still lives above John. And I'm like, she's going to tell John. John's going to know. John's going to know that we're all talking about him and watching him hang up his washing.
I think it's innocent enough. The way it starts in the podcast is as if you've just like taken a few snaps of a guy. But like,
it was one snap, not of his face. Still wrong. I'm not. Not defending. It's wrong. I was when you really, and if you could have seen me in that moment, like peering near my sink, like trying to get a photo without like seeing me doing it. Like I knew what I was doing was gross.
You gave
but
into the intrusive thoughts.
I was like, I need to share this with Susan.
She appreciated
and
it.
she loved it. So
that's a real friend.
She's got it framed now.
Well, speaking of Susan, the Material Girl podcast, so I listened to, I think 4 episodes or something recently, like Kate Hammer, Viv G, and another couple ones. But I think, that will sound insulting, but it's not like, see how you just chat about shit, but it makes you want to like, oh, I wish I was in that conversation. It's really good. Like, how did it start?
The podcast? Mm-hmm. Well, obviously, so we do the monthly stand-up show, and
is that every month that you do the...
Every month, aye. So the next one's tomorrow, the stand.
Like Amy Matthews or something?
Amy Matthews headline. So we were like, well, we just start... So we started doing the podcast monthly. I can't really remember. Sorry, my memory's like, honestly, as if we were just like, should we do a podcast? Because a lot of people were doing a podcast.
Yeah.
And at first I was like, aye. And I was like, I don't know. The whole thought of it made me really... anxious because I was like, the thought of me being recorded talking, and then like for the sole purpose of people listening to it. Yeah,
I hate that as well.
Do you know what I mean?
They want to do an episode about us, and I'm like, that is the last thing I want to do.
See, now we don't have guests on because the listeners said they hate it when we have guests on.
All right.
They're like, we actually just rather when it's you and Susan talk shit. So we were like, no, hate it, but a few people were like, oh, gotta stop getting guests on.
Wow. I quite enjoyed it because you guys chatted before and then it was a guest and then you chatted after, so that worked quite well because you get both.
So but we've not we will have guests again, I think, but we just haven't for a while because we were getting used to. Now we do it weekly, so we were getting used to just getting into the habit of doing that, and obviously all the editing drama.
Yeah. I've got one more question that I'd never heard of, and it came up in your podcast, and I've had the opposite of you. So Alice in Wonderland syndrome or something? Aye. Can you explain it? I can't remember exactly what it is. But...
So it's like when you just have... It's really hard to explain. For me, it was like I felt like I was giant. Like you feel like you're... The syndrome
you look at your hands and stuff? Or?
No, what it was, I was in a toilet and I was like leaning over washing my hands in the sink and I was just like, oh my God, I feel like I'm a pure ginormous... giant.
It wasn't like a children's bathroom, was it?
No, because that's what my pal was like, it would just be the tiny sink. And I'm like, no, it wasn't. Like, I honestly felt like I was pure giant. I've had it a couple other times as well, like in my house the other week, and I was I can't remember what I was doing, but I was kneeling on my bed. I was maybe just like putting stuff away, and I was like, oh my God, I feel massive. Like, you just all of a sudden feel like you're bigger than you are, or smaller. But I've never felt small.
I've had the opposite. So I have something in my, I don't know if it's when I'm tired, but like I look at my hand and it just looks absolutely minute. I'm like, what the fuck? Like, why is my hand so wee? And I've had the tiny thing. I'm like even looking down, I'm like, oh, like my legs are tiny. I'm like, I've got like wee tiny feet. I'm like, what is this? But I'd never heard of that before, and you guys did it. I was like, oh wow,
it's
cool.
It's scary.
Do you have any other like night terrors or hallucinations?
I did when I was younger. So I'm really scared of sand timers, right?
Like these ones?
Aye. Right.
Okay.
Because when I was wee, a few times it happened. Obviously, when I had a high temperature, I was maybe like hallucinating, and I was always my mum will be like, "Oh, I remember this." I used to like walk about, then like I was obviously kind of like asleep, or I don't know what I was doing. I was like wandering about unwell, and I was like, ah! And all I could see in my head was like sand timers, and I felt like my fingers were like pure thin, like thinner than a pencil, and I kept saying to my mum, oh, my fingers, and she was like, what the fuck are you talking about? And that happened to me like maybe 3 or 4 times, like as a Wayne.
Is it
maybe
from Aladdin with the sand timer?
I think so, like, so it was like that kind of, that's what I could kind of see, and so now when I see one, like I just feel like, it just makes me feel pure queasy, like I'm like,
shit,
why is that so horrible?
So what you're saying about the when you get hallucinations, I had something like to do with my white blood cells before, and I started hallucinating. It went on for weeks, and apparently it was like really bad.
Hallucinating what?
It's from a mosquito bite. But what was happening is everything went in fast forward. So I was like staring at the second hand on a watch. It was just like going around like that. And my mum came in offering me sweets, and it was like, you know the big packets where it's like fruit salads or blackjacks, whatever. And she's like, and then she went away, and I was just like sitting watching that, just like pissing my sweat.
Oh my God, that's horrible. I would never recover from that.
I got wee flashbacks for it for a couple of years just now and then, and that's when the tiny thing started. That's what I was wondering.
Sometimes I get this weird thing when I'm listening to music, right? And it feels like it's gone too fast or too slow.
Right.
Do you ever get that? No.
Uh-huh.
Like a song that you know quite well, and you're like, oh, that's gone too fast.
Right. Okay.
Like, or that's, and then it'll kind of go back to normal, and then sometimes I'm like, oh no, it's gone too fast again. Like, and then I don't know what that is. I was probably just, I don't know, having an anxiety attack or something.
Yeah, I'll look out for that.
But that's something that I've noticed. But that's got a name as well, but I can't think what name is. Because I remember talking to it about a guy. I used to study music, actually. And he was talking about it back then. And I was like, I've had that before. And then I hadn't had it for years, but I had it recently. I was watching the Eras tour. Again, it was probably just like the speed. It's a Swiftie.
Swiftie, right. You can save your Swiftie showers. Okay.
So I was watching it live. Again, it was probably just like the fucking TikTok stream, like, being funny, but I was like, that song sounds too fast.
Right, okay.
And then it would sound normal, and I was like, no, it sounds... But then it was making me feel like it's dead uneasy. You're like, what? So I can't remember what it's called, but that's a pure thing as well.
Okay. That was a revelation hearing that Alice in Wonderland thing. I thought it was just me with the tiny hand.
No, it's a pure thing.
I'm quite jealous of the big one. That sounds like
killer. The big one, because you feel like you're a big giant, but it's kind of scary as well, because you think you're going to burst through the... Like, you know, when she's in the house. Have you seen Alice in Wonderland?
Yeah.
Aye. So I'm guessing it's coming for... Because she just changes in size all through the thing. Okay. But there's a bit where she eats the thing and she, like, pure bursts out the house. And it kind of feels like you're going to do that. And you're like, ah! But you know, obviously, you're just freaking out. For nothing. So that's the thing.
Let me just check if I've got any more questions, and I'll hand over to Struan. Material girl, hallucinations, roast battles, hunky hangout, dodgy course. Yeah. Okay, so I mentioned Taylor Swift, so I know Struan's a big pop fan, Swiftie fan. Yeah. No, I'm just saying. I'll hand over to Struan, but thank you for coming on. I really enjoyed that.
And me too.
And if you get any intrusive thoughts, please just do them to Struan.
I will.
Yeah, a lot of your chat is like thrown up. That's why I've been on my phone. I haven't been like ignorant. I've just been like noting things down because they all like sort of resonate in some sense.
Aye.
So we'll park Taylor Swift for the moment, and we'll come back to
that.
Okay, we'll go straight into it. Favourite album?
Speak Now.
Oh.
Yeah.
I see.
What's yours?
1989.
Oh, I'd say that's a close. Do you know what? It's hard. They're all my favourite, but that's probably my. I've got a wee speak now. Right, so last night I was telling them when you went back to her, I had a bracelet making party for the Eras tour.
I saw your story.
It was horrible.
4 hours of making.
4 hours? I was like, oh my god, I'm going to make 1 million bracelets. And
What's the name of that stuff? I feel like that was like big when sort of late primary school. Everyone was making these, like, they had their names on it and you'd be your best friend or whatever.
Aye.
This was more girls, I think, than it was guys, but
not a stereotype.
Yeah.
But aye, it was I don't know what they called it, but basically I ordered a shit ton of beads and all that off Amazon and other terrible companies.
It's kind of nostalgic, like seeing that.
I was like, this is going to be so cute and so fun, and then after 2 I was like, I'm shattered. Like, we were all pure, I'm fed up, I'm not doing this. But then I got up this morning and I made another 4. Like, now
really?
I'm like, aye.
Go faster than the 4 hours.
Aye. So I made 4 in an hour.
Damn.
I know, but I think I just was like, right, I know what I'm doing now. And plus I was drinking last night, so...
It muddies the waters.
Aye. It was probably... The Prosecco was probably making picking up the tiny beads a wee bit harder. So I'd say maybe Speak... It's dead hard to choose. I really like the new album.
Do you?
I love it.
I find it so difficult now that albums are like 20-something, 30-something songs long. It's just like... I don't like. I'm not good with like... overly long like box sets or like binging and things like that.
Aye.
And so if you get loads of like 30 songs, it's like, and it's over 2 hours, it's like, I'm not doing anything for that length of time.
It was overwhelming. I agree, it was overwhelming.
You think as a fan like it'd be good because like there's so much there.
Well, for me, I woke up, so I'd pre-saved the album and all that, obviously. I woke up, I went to the gym, like I got up at 5 and I was in the gym at 6 and I was like, put the album on.
Yeah.
And it only pre-saved, so it was like a surprise double album. So the album I had saved was just the one that ends on like 14 songs or something. So I listened to it and then I listened to it again and then I got into work, so I use this app called Opal, right, to lock me out of social media between the hours of 6 a.m. and 10 a.m, right?
What's it called? Opal?
Opal.
Right, I've not come across that, but yeah. That
just so
like
I don't waste, because I will just open up Instagram and then no get out of bed that day.
I'm not as bad as that, but
not that bad, but you know.
But like, I'll do it something as well. We sit in with a cup of tea and think, like, okay, I've got 10 minutes, I can just like doom scroll and that'll be fine. And then you're like 30, 40 minutes and it's like, I could have done something quite productive. I could have edited the podcast rather than resent having to do it later.
Later because I've wasted it. So I'd done that, so I hadn't been on social media, so I didn't know about the double album. I got into work, and then I thought, hold on, where's my bonus track? Because I'd ordered one of the CDs, like the manuscript one. I was like,
did you actually get a physical copy?
I got a physical copy.
Proper fan.
I was like, where's that bonus? Where are the bonus tracks? And then I went on a Spotify, and then again, and I was like, oh my god, there's a whole other, and then I was like, fuck's sake, I was kind of a bit like, fuck's sake, another 16 songs,
I've
like,
got to listen to this now.
I need to dedicate, like, so it was overwhelming, but I do love it now that I've had a couple of weeks.
You want to see our...
Yeah.
You are? Where are you going to?
Murrayfields.
You are?
Yeah.
We my girlfriend and I looked to get tickets, and the only place we could get them for, I think, was Belfast or Dublin. My friend's going to Dublin, the Dublin one, actually. Really? Aye. We looked at it, and between the cost of ferries, the gig, hotels, and plus Galen's and the police, so I think she had to be back at work the next day at 12, and it just wasn't feasible. Aye. And it was also going to cost about the same as a foreign holiday. Aye, yeah. Like, I'm a fan, but I can't justify spending 700 quid on 3 hours of entertainment. Really. Aye, see, I was willing to spend for a ticket alone. I was like, I will spend £1,000. Right. Oh, really? Aye, okay. Like I was, because I've never seen her before, and I've always been a Swiftie, and my friend, I get pure annoyed because my friend who I'm going with, like, only got into her during lockdown. Right. So she's a jumper. And I'm like, you barely even deserve. You don't even deserve a ticket. No. But so she was at work, and I was the one doing the pure, like, she had the pre-sale code. I was the one doing the ticket buying. It was so stressful. Right. I managed to get 2 tickets for the Friday seated. And then at the next release date, like 2 hours later, they were releasing the Saturday tickets. Yeah. And I got 2 Golden Circle standing tickets. Nice. And they were cheaper than the seated tickets for the Friday. Swings and roundabouts. And I was like, what the fuck? So I'm pure excited.
I'm so excited.
I'm excited for you.
Thanks. I'm honestly like, it's 2 weeks away. I can't believe it.
Is it as soon as
It's
that?
2 weeks today, aye.
Oh no, that will be good.
It'll be good. It'll be good. It'll be so good.
And when you talked about your intrusive thoughts,
Yeah.
are they thoughts or are they dreams?
They're thoughts.
They are thoughts.
Yeah.
What about dreams? Do you ever have like
I have terrible dreams.
bad attitudes towards people in a dream as well?
No, I'm normally the good guy in the dream. But I do have a lot of really weird dreams and nightmares, actually. Like, I'd say I have more nightmares than
good dreams.
Aye. But I kinda, this is going to be weird, but I kinda enjoy them. Like, I'm kinda like, oh, like, sometimes I wake up and I'm like, that would be a good story.
So do you like being the villain then?
No. No, I don't. I like being the good guy.
Mm-hmm.
And like, and my dreams are always. But let me describe one of my dreams to you,
Yeah.
which is you're gonna be like, I don't give a fuck, but this
is almost like a therapy session.
This is like the kind of nightmares I have. The last nightmare I had was 2 nights ago. I had a dream. It was like the apocalypse, right? And for some reason, me and my boyfriend and my Wayne went to the nearest DFS because we were like, that'll be a great place to
comfy seats
to hide for zombies, right? So there was like zombies outside, and then we go into the DFS, and there was big piles and piles of sand, like big heaps of sand, and then out of the sand came like tigers and lions and stuff. And obviously we were all fucked then at that point. It was like zombies or lions and tigers.
Do you wake up before they get you?
Aye.
Yeah.
Aye. Aye, mostly aye. Sometimes I'll have dreams of biting me, and then but so like that's the kind of nightmares I have. Like they make no sense, but at the time when you're in them, you're like, that's the scariest thing that's ever happened.
I've got a sort of a recurring one. I say it's happened 3 or 4 times.
What a nightmare!
Well, yeah, let's call it a nightmare because that's better phrasing than calling it a dream.
A fantasy.
Yeah, Daryl. I'm not fantasising about killing
really
people
hot
here.
fantasy.
I'm dreaming about it. No, there's some my work, because I work as a fisheries biologist 9 to 5, and
A what?
Fisheries biologist.
What's that?
Conservation across freshwater environments in Ayrshire.
Cool.
Is the easiest way to describe that. And Ian, you're probably not watching this, but I've killed Ian now 3 or 4 times, and usually through gunshot.
Right.
There was 1 stabbing, and Ian is the nicest person you could possibly hope to meet.
Yeah.
And would never hurt a fly, and yet for some reason
You have an overwhelming urge to murder
he
him.
cops for my unhinged violence, on a not quite monthly basis, but maybe every 3 or 4 months.
Right. Yeah.
And I didn't. Do you ever talk to people in your dreams about? So the characters in your dreams about what's happened to them?
I think so.
Because I was slightly unnerved about saying to people at work I've dreamt about killing Ian.
I had to dream I killed you. Aye.
And then we were talking about dreams one day, and I thought, well, this is as close as a good option as I'm going to get. And so I had to describe to Ian how I'd murdered him on a few occasions. And I also played a game recently at work, and I'll maybe do this with you. It's like a game, it's just a question. If you to choose one person to be tossed into, last time it was a desert island, let's call it a jungle this time.
Right.
Who would you pick, and what would your rationale for that be?
One person that I know.
Yeah.
My mum.
And why would you say your mum?
For a laugh, I think.
She would keep you sane?
Oh, wait a minute. I'm with them.
Yeah. Sorry,
right.
you're not just
Not
patching
my mum.
them off.
All right, I thought I was just ditching her there.
Sorry, with their mum, you revealed something about your relationship.
Just for a laugh. Right, with me.
You're there, and it's this thinking about survival and getting back to civilization.
Right, know my partner, because he would just be like, let's just die, it's fine. Knowing like he wants, he's not like he's pure, but I just don't see him being.
It's not going to break out the
desperate to get off of this island. He'd be like, cool, we don't need to go to work.
Yeah. But you got to find food and shelter and things like that. So.
Shit. I don't know anybody that good, I don't think.
No?
Who? I don't know.
So I looked at it from a slightly different perspective, and I chose hopefully no one watches this. I chose the biggest person at work and thinking like if I kill them, then I can live off them
For
and
a
build
while.
shelter, and then like have a plan of action to get out, and that should last me a couple of weeks, 3
Aye.
or 4 weeks. I don't know. Maybe if I can salt them, they'll last longer.
Right, well, in that case, I don't know.
We're really leaning into the intrusive thoughts now.
No, I think that's just practical thinking. I
Thank
think you're
you.
right. I would want to have a laugh, though.
Yeah,
I'd take somebody who's a laugh.
we'll be your co-host in the pod.
Susan, but there's no much to her if I need to eat her.
No,
But fuck it.
but you could.
I'm on a diet anyway.
You could live stream from the jungle.
She would also. We could actually make for good podcast
make good
content.
Yeah, talking points.
Aye, I'll take Susan.
You're taking Susan. And a couple of Shure mics and a laptop
Aye, we're sorted.
and a Wi-Fi connection.
Aye.
It's no longer it's a jungle. This is just what we're doing now, basically.
I don't. I'm sorry, I need more details. What's on the island was?
Oof, right, okay, I haven't got this far either.
Like,
It's a jungle, right? It's
What's a
it's
jungle?
an uncharted bit of jungle.
oh no, so there's all sorts of stuff.
There's potential for like threat from lions and tigers.
Right, no
Maybe
Susan.
not lions in a jungle, but
I don't know, I think I need to really sleep on this.
okay. I mean, it's an important question.
No, my Wayne, because then I need to protect him.
Mm-hmm.
And I worry that I couldn't against.
We won't throw any knives into the jungle with you.
Aye. I don't. This is so hard. Maybe my sister.
Is she quite sort of industrious?
No,
No.
but we'd have a laugh.
You'd have a laugh.
Like, no matter what happens, we could laugh about it.
Yeah. Okay, fair
Or
dues.
Susan. Aye. Fuck it. If I'm. Aye. So
You could
I'll
write
say
some of your
Susan.
stand-up material.
Exactly, a writer's retreat. Just treat it like
There
a
you
writer's retreat. Aye.
Do you write with other people when you, at all for things, or
Stand up.
stand up? Is it all coming from you?
No, I don't write with other people. I think sometimes, like, there's a lot of people get together for wee groups and we'll run stuff by each other,
Yeah.
kind of thing. But I don't sit down and write with other people. I think it needs, for me, all it has to be like
Has to be
my
your
own experiences and kind of thoughts and stuff. So I've never really sat
No.
down and wrote with somebody else. I think it'd be quite. Though it depends. I mean, it could be good. Somebody who's got a slightly different kind of
Slightly different sense of
humour.
humour.
Aye, but I also
But
think
you've got your very sort of, you've got your niche in terms of like how you approach it.
aye. So I think I would ultimately be like, no, I'm not saying that. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, it's not me.
Not that I think my stuff's
No, but that's
like
your, it's your
better,
perspective
but
on the
I'd
world
just
and
be
it's your
like,
delivery.
aye, that's not going to suit me, or that's not going to work for me, or whatever. But then you never know, that's the thing. And sometimes you do a bit, and I've had people like Tom, I was doing tour sport for Tom Stade, and I've got this joke about, it's kind of like an intrusive thoughts bit, and he was like, hey, it would be funny if you said this, like try this, and I've been doing it, and it works much better than what I was saying actually, so now I just keep doing it, and I'm like, he's like, you can just take it, and I'm like, thanks. So
You feel slightly guilty, but
you do, I think, but then I'm like, well, no,
it's because you're still fashioned out of your idea,
aye,
so it's intrinsically it's yours.
but he was like, so it was kind of calling back to something else, and then you feel like an idiot, 'cause I'm like, I should have thought of that, like.
But sometimes
But you just need somebody
a
else's
perspective switch.
eye as well to be like, actually, you could say that, and then I did it, and it went really well, and I've never stopped doing it since.
Yeah.
So I think in cases like that, I'm open to other people's ideas and how my stuff could be, funnier. Because you want to say the best.
It's yeah, because it's so many different ways of delivering the same concept or idea.
Aye.
And I suppose that's part of the workshopping element, isn't it? Do you do that? Do you like actively take a joke and then like try and tell it 3 or 4 different ways into different crowds and see what plays best? Because you're talking about your sort of highbrow audience almost, and a lot of the material you're talking about in that particular instance didn't land with them.
No.
It just wasn't. It wasn't for that type of audience.
No.
How important two-part question. How important is the audience for the comedy experience, and then do you try and tailor? Well, you can answer that right with Darrow. You don't try and then make a round pegs fit in a square hole.
I think the audience is one of the most important. They completely define how the whole room is as well. Like, sometimes you go out, if you've got a good audience and they're up for it and they're quite comedy savvy and whatever, then once you get your first couple of laughs, then that's it. You can just relax and just do your thing. If you go out and they're a bit drier, then you do need to kind of...
Does it put you on edge?
Aye.
And does that detract then from the rest of the performance, or once you've kind of cracked them, do you feel like then you relax totally, and that's probably when the best stuff comes?
Aye, but I think they probably don't know that I am relaxed because I'm so... I think actually I put them on edge at first, which I like.
Is that just because of your demeanour?
Aye, because just the way I start my set, I always start it the same way.
How do you... You don't need to do it verbatim, but like how do you like get yourself into the swing of it?
I like in terms of like rehearsing it or whatever?
Sorry. Like you were talking about how you start off like the introduction of it. How do you?
Oh, so I go out. I'm completely like stone faced, and I'll just be like, hello.
How you say completely stoned there?
Completely stoned. Am I not?
But you've had your lemonade.
Aye, I've had my lemonade. I've had my propanol, so I'm not gonna faint.
Yep.
So I go out just confident in that, and I'm just like, hello, like I'm just so, like it's almost as if I'm miserable to be there, and I'm like, so lovely to be here, kind of thing, and then I do a joke about how I lost my husband, and you know I lead them, I think he's dead, and then I'm like, no, he's not dead, and then no, he is dead. So they're a bit like, oh, what the fuck? But normally, like, at that, then for how they respond to that, then I can tell how much I'm going to get away with.
So do you then start to sort of pick and choose jokes in your head that you might try and see and get a reaction, and then gauge how far you can push it?
I always, if I'm gigging outside of Glasgow, I've got quite a dark joke about suicidal thoughts, and I think when I gig outside of Glasgow, I'm always terrified to do that joke. I don't know why.
Does Glasgow feel almost like a safe space then?
Aye, Glasgow, I think.
Because you're from Glasgow, you know the people, you know the humour, and if it doesn't necessarily travel, the joke doesn't travel.
I always worry that, but I found that it does. I just in my head, I always think somebody's going to... Again, intrusive thoughts that are, no about me harming others. I always think somebody's going to hear that, they're not going to like it, and they're going to charge at me, like, on stage.
Right.
Somebody's going to throw a glass at me, somebody's going to... Like, I just worry that they'll take the joke really... I don't know.
Not as a joke.
Aye, and go mental. Like, I gigged in Aberdeen a couple of times, and the first time I gigged up there, when I was leaving the venue, like, the gig went well, but there was people up the back who obviously didn't like me, and they were just saying, no, it was just a bit too close to home or whatever. And when I was leaving the venue, I heard one of the women tell the host that she fucking hated me.
Damn.
And I was pure...
Hated you or hated your content? Because the two are different.
Actually hated me.
Okay.
But I guess like, she just didn't like my
your act.
Jokes, my style, my act. I mean, personally, I think I'm alright. I think if she had spoke to me, she'd be like, alright. But she said she fucking hated me, and I thought, alright, okay, I don't think maybe this... And so in my head, for a while, I was like, I just don't work outside a...
Yeah, puts that...
Like, they just don't get it up here, they don't get it. Like,
and if you suffer with anxiety and OCD, then you're going to hang on to that one thing.
Aye, negative thing.
Aye.
So, and I still do that all the time. Like, I'll be having a really good gig, but I'll notice one person who's like...
Yeah, stony-faced.
And then I'm just obsessed with them. Then I'm just looking at them for the whole time. And I'm like...
Because that's then like the person you need to make laugh.
Aye, I'm like, I'll get you.
Do they ever like break?
Aye.
Okay.
I think this is like my favourite episode so far.
Yeah, I know.
I've absolutely loved it.
Yeah.
Aww.
It's been very free flowing. I've got like 30 odd questions like that are sort of there, and I've not got to one of them. But that's fine.
Okay.
So yeah, do you, like those people like in the audience? Do you ever focus on them?
Aye.
Do they break, or are they there just to be I don't know, dicks basically.
Do you know what? I was gigging in Dundee last week, and there was 2 women at the front who literally heckled me like after I said my first line, and I just ignored them. Like I just looked at them like,
"You're a piece of shit."
all
Shut
right.
up.
They didn't like a lot of my jokes, right? They were being like, they were like audibly gasping and stuff like that, and I'm like, oh fuck's sake, I've just said the word blowjob, calm down. and then I told like a joke that was no even like, I mean, I guess it's funny. I'd hope it's funny, but it's really like it's not even a joke. It's just like a line building up to a joke kind of thing, and they were literally like, ah ha 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 ha, like slapping each other, going, that was a good one, that was a good one, but only that one bit, and then the rest of the time they were like.
Strange humans.
And I was like, what the fuck? I was like, do you hate me or no? Like, it was pure. So I'll always focus on the people who don't like me.
Mm-hmm.
And I think everybody does that, and it's so stupid. But it's just human nature, I think.
It kind of is that you hang on to the one negative in any situation rather than just see that there's 100 people in a room, everyone's laughing except for 96 of them.
Aye.
And that wee clique of 4, you don't know what happened in their day leading up to this.
Aye,
and they probably don't want to be there because they all fell out because of some random crap that doesn't matter.
Aye, but you take it so personally. You're like, they hate me and they wish I was dead. It's like, what you think?
That's really catastrophising the situation.
I'm just like, they literally despise me, and I'm like, and they should, they're right, you know. And then you just like
start looking for the truth in it.
You're like, why though? They must be justified, because so you do. I think like I always will look at the negative things and think about it and like really be like, why did they not like me? You know, which is so stupid, because I'll go to shows but I think for me, I'm just like, they're so bold, because even if I went to a show and I hated it, I know for a fact I would still be like.
Yeah.
You know, like
you've got to appreciate the effort someone put into it. We were
like
talking
it's
about
no
it earlier on. It's like there's people out there doing things you might not quite like the style or the content, but you've got to appreciate someone putting the effort in week out and trying to make something of themselves. There's so many people out there that don't. They just like they do their job, and there's nothing wrong with that necessarily either. But they're not trying to further themselves or make the world a better place.
They don't.
In whatever sense they can do it through.
They don't respect that at all. Like they've got no problem just showing you that they hate you. Whereas I'd be like, maybe it's just cause I'm a performer. I'd always be thinking of their point of view, and I'd be like, I would hate for them to look at me and see me like this.
Yeah, so
you know. So I'm always like,
has being a comic changed how you are as an audience member?
I think so. I think I probably always was quite a good audience member, but I'd say I definitely in fact it's probably changed me in a way that it's maybe made me kind of insincere. No, say I see a comic and they're not doing too great, and maybe I don't even like it. I will laugh when I know they want laughs, because
it helps the room as well.
It's just like. I don't know. It feels unnatural to sit there at a comedy show and not laugh.
Do
you know what I mean?
That's the big difference between trying to watching something like on a Netflix special on your own in the house. It might be funny, but it has to be something serious to make you
actually laugh
really
out
laugh out loud. Whereas being in a room with people laughing.
I think you need to be.
You're all there for the same things. Like it's that infectious quality that you don't get from seeing it second hand.
You need to be willing to just laugh. Even if it's no the funniest thing you've ever seen. You need to give them something to. It work when it helps the whole room, and so I think I am maybe hyper aware of laughing and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And sometimes I'm like, but then I'm like. I don't really even get that one. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. I do not relate to that, but it's like I know they want you to laugh at this point, so I'm just going to do it because that's what
It's the right thing to do.
It's the right thing to do. So aye.
And see, when you're writing material, how often do you rewrite and bring in new material? And do you do it all at once, or do you sort of drip feed a few jokes here and there?
I'd say I drip feed. I would never
reinvent the whole set completely.
I would never get up. unless it's like a new material night and you've got 5-10 minutes, so I'll get up and say, oh, blah, blah, oh, and I'll say, oh, I'm going to do new material, and then I'll do the new material. But if it's like a weekend show or, you know, like a proper, like a paid gig or something, I would do the stuff that I know works. So it's called like the shit sandwich. So you do the stuff you know works, put the new bit in the middle, and then if it's shit, you can end on a you can bring it back, you can win them back over.
Someone told me that I do that when I'm making comments about things.
You're like,
I'll start with something like vaguely positive, then go to the negative, and then try and bring it out on a slightly positive, so I don't feel like. I think it's more like me protect myself, like I'm not coming across as a terrible person,
like bad,
and being too blunt. I don't know if that was podcast wise or work. I can't remember. I think it might have been to do with work.
It's a strategy, definitely. I think
survival mechanism. Because you get beaten up.
Because I'm like, you don't want to do your good stuff and then try the new bit at the end and then end, and everybody's like, what the fuck was that? Like at the end, because that's what you're kind of. I feel like you're leaving it on.
With so many of the comedy specials that you watch, those like the last joke is never the funniest thing. It's always like the build up to that, and it's like then it ends and people start clapping. Like, was that the grand finale here? It's a bit of an anticlimax.
It's so hard to. I know. I think I only did my first hour long show this March, so like this year will be my first Fringe and stuff. And the end of my show, I'm still working on it, and I'm like, do I end here or do I add a whole new? Like, I don't think the end is going to be this. I don't know. The endings are hard, I think.
I bet it is, because like you can't predict how the audience is going to react to every single joke. But yeah, there seem to be like things like mid-set that like absolutely kill, and then it doesn't necessarily peter out, but it doesn't just end explosively the way you would like go up on a massive high and ride that wave.
So I think I'm going to try 2 different endings. I've got another preview coming up, so I'm like, so then I think I'll try. I did 2 shows at the comedy festival and I ended it the same way. At this preview I'm going to try it this new way, and then see how I feel about it, and then at the Fringe, fuck it, I guess I could switch up, but the audience, that's the good thing about like the audience don't know day to day how, like, you know, if you've switched it or whatever.
You've got a latitude to play about with it if you want, and then because you could then you could work it for the first week and then settle into a set kind of rhythm with it.
Well, I'm doing 13 days, I think, in my solo show the last 2 weeks, because we're doing Material Girl for the whole run.
Right.
So I didn't want to do both for the whole run, because then I think I might go insane. It
sounds quite intensive. When we were speaking to Sam Lake about this a few weeks back, and it sounds like cognitively and sort of emotionally demanding, having to do like 25 odd days or whatever. And then that did really distracted there. Was it the cognitive bit? But it seemed really cognitively and emotionally demanding, like having to focusing on like the audience and bringing them into the set each time. Yeah, being a performer and having to do that stuff day in, day out sounds,
I think it'll be a big reality check for me, because it's like I've only done an hour long show twice. I'll have done it 3 times by the time I go to the Fringe. So I think a couple of days in I'll probably be completely just melted, like completely like what am I doing? I do that all the time. I'm like, what am I doing? Why did I do this?
I think like are you filming this show?
No, I don't know. I'm not thought about it. I
do you
don't
ever
think
do that?
so.
Do you ever like film like sets or film
all the
yourself
time? Not film, but I voice record it.
Yeah.
In my pocket most of the time and listen back for, especially if I'm trying new bits, just to be like, oh, I said that way. I could have maybe said it this way or whatever.
I thought that might be quite like an important tool for any kind of performance-based thing.
It was like Tom Stade who got me to do it, because he records everything.
Yeah.
Like everything, all his shows, all his tour shows and stuff. And he would record mine as well for me, and then I'd watch it back or listen back to it and go, all right, I could. But I hate doing that as well. Like it's necessary, but it's also just horrible.
Watching yourself back and listening to yourself.
You're
but
just
how do you listen to your own podcast after it's gone out?
Not after it's gone out. Normally we would listen to it before it.
Right, before it goes
before
live.
it's scheduled to go live,
Yeah.
aye. Well, I'd maybe just kind of flick through it to make sure Susan's cut the bits that I've begged her to cut. And she's never has. So, I don't know why I bother.
Brutal.
But, so, I do, but there's something different about that because it's no performative, I guess.
There's also, like, I find with this, there's also the safety aspect of there's somebody else involved.
Aye.
And it's not just a name on it, and it's not like a comedy performance where it's all on you.
It's
You
just
write it, you workshop it basically yourself, you perform it, and if it goes really well, all accolades are yours.
Aye, and there's no live audience there. Do you know what I mean? So the podcast, it's no like, oh, there's
not the same.
Oh, they didn't enjoy that. Like,
not
it
the same
doesn't matter
pressure.
because you don't like, they are seeing people no enjoy it, so it's fine.
Yeah, and you're doing it with friends as well.
Aye, so but listening to back or watching back stand up, I'm always just like. But then sometimes if you have a good show, I'm like.
Wish I'd watched that. I wish I
I'm
could
like,
watch that.
That was great. So it's weird. This is a weird thing to do. Like recording yourself and listening back, and I hate doing it, and I always put it off. I put it off and I put it off and I put it off. But I'm glad I did it for my Glasgow shows. I recorded the first one, like voice recorded it, and I loved that one. I was like, this was great. I'm so glad I did it. And then I did the same show again 2 nights later. So that was a Saturday afternoon. I did it on the Monday night. I hated it. I hated every second of it. I thought, this is shit. That was terrible. I came off. Susan was like, that was great, and I was like, no, and you know what I mean? I was like, I'm gonna cry, and she was like, why are you gonna cry? And I was like, that was just terrible, and she was like, wasn't it? And then I listened back to it, and I was like, no, it was good. It was great. Like people are laughing, but I think it was just a different vibe because it was like a Monday night, and I think I enjoyed the Saturday so much that I was comparing it and thinking, oh, this is shit compared to the other day. But I was so glad that I had recorded it because I think I would have just always felt like that was awful.
Mm-hmm.
But I listened to it back a wee bit and I was like, no, that was good. So it's good in that sense when you're kind of beating yourself up.
It must be good to sort of give yourself back that confidence.
Aye,
be able to validate
just a bit of perspective. Like I think I just wasn't enjoying it, so I was like projecting onto the audience and thinking, oh, yous are hating this as much as I am, but they actually weren't. So it was good for that to be like, oh no, you know what? No, it was fine, or it was maybe even good. It wasn't terrible, and I don't need to quit. You know, it's good.
One bad performance, and that's that all over.
Aye. And I was like, oh, I was talking weird and all that, and then I was listening back to it, and I was like, no, you just sound. I think just in your head, you always think, no, this is coming out weird, or they're going to tell that you aren't enjoying this, so but it was actually fine.
Probably people aren't looking into you with the same minute detail that you're analysing yourself with. I think like we're all guilty of that, be it with like photos, because I'm like, I don't like having my photo taken, and you look at it, you think, oh, I've got lines behind my eyes there, and it's like, why have I stood that? When it's like, no one else is noticing that stuff. Exactly. Like that's the thing. Like we're all unique and all the rest of it, but like no one cares how unique you are. Really.
Aye. It's like everybody's too busy worrying about how they
everyone's so worried about
how they sound and
about their things.
Yeah.
Like they're not looking at your photo thinking,
I know, it's embarrassing, isn't it, that you're like
so self-obsessed
that you actually think people would give a fuck how you look in a photo. Aye.
Yeah.
So I hate like it's just I like photos, like I like a photo, but I hate the if somebody's like a photographer, I think there's like a kind of like, oh, they're gonna think I don't know, shit at
being a person.
Smiling, at being in front of a camera. Like I don't know, like I think I overthink everything. So I think that's just something that.
I think the nice thing about photography, and having been taking photos of people for these podcasts, is that it sort of gives you an appreciation for like people.
Aye.
And like, I'm not quite sure how to like articulate it best, but there's a uniqueness to everybody, and like that comes through in both like the podcasting side of it and also the photo side of it. And it's nice to have like both sets of those kind of memories to go back and look at like retrospectively. You can then, it's sort of like just a snapshot in time, and then if we go back and have like people on as repeat guests later on, you'll be able to see how like their views and thoughts have changed, like through the talking element, and then maybe how their styles or looks have changed, or just people we all age.
I love those pages on Instagram that it's like photographers just going up to people and asking to take their
random
portrait.
Yeah. Well, this was to get rid of that side of it. We could actually had a reason to go and do it.
And people are always like, "What the fuck? Why?"
Yeah.
And then they see their photos and they're like, "I love them."
Yeah.
Like I'm always like, "That's so cute and wholesome."
Well, hopefully we can recreate that memory
hopefully,
for you.
Or
that feeling for you.
I'm not looking at the photos and I'm like, "Fuck those guys."
That's shite.
No, So.
Well, with that, shall we try and take some photos?
Yeah.
We could feel like we could chat for a lot longer, but
No, yeah.
don't want to take up all your afternoon.
No.
And we'll.
No. I could chat to you, but you probably
That's okay.
want.
You betrayed yourself there.
We all have lives to be getting on with. No, I'm joking. No, yeah, let's do some
Let's do some
photos.
photos. Let's do it.
Let's do it.
If you've really enjoyed this episode, you're going to really enjoy our chat with Mark Cox here, and our episode with development by David McIntosh here. Mark here, David here. Go and watch them.